Sagan.
Hello everybody, it is Isaiah or Bram here bringing you part 2 of the ARK Master Guide. So last part we left off with the Megalania, I think. So today we're going to pick it up with the Megaloceros. Now it's pretty much just like an elk or a buck or whatever. And these guys are good for collecting thatch. They are tameable and they are rideable. Apparently they're really good cave mounts. I don't really know too much about that, but I mean, you can comment what you think and I would like to know. Right here we've got the Megalosaurus, which is a cave mob. You can tame them, you can ride them. You'll find them sleeping and they will aggro on you and wake up. And they need to sleep to perform well, so I don't know if they're good to have, but maybe they have some sort of use that I don't know about. Next we have the Megapithecus, which is not tameable or rideable. It is really just a boss in ARK, but I'm gonna ride him right now, just kind of see. He's huge. I mean, not as big as like the dragon, but he's pretty big. Next we have the Mesopithecus, which is like the extremely small brother of this guy. He is tameable, he is not rideable. He throws poop at you if he's wild. And you can pick him up. He's used to go inside bases and actually open their doors up if they're wooden or thatch. Next we have the Microraptor, which I freaking lost, but I will put a picture of it on the screen. It's really just a nuisance to deal with in the wild. It is tameable, it is not rideable. They dismount enemy players, so they're great for PvP, but other than that, if you're trying to fight them and there's a couple of them, it might be bad news because they will stun you and you won't be able to swing or do anything to them. Next we have the Morellatops. He is tameable, he is rideable. He stores water on scorched earth, he's good for berries, thatch, he's very fast, and he's really just a good land mount to have. Next we have the Mosa. He is huge, he's a water mount, obviously. He is tameable and he is rideable. Other than that, I don't really know a specific purpose he has, but I think he's very cool. Next is the Moschops, which is tameable, it is not rideable. It is good for collecting rare resources, such as like the rare flower or a couple other things. In order to tame him though, you do need to give him alternating rare items, so he'll go from a rare flower to any other special item. Next we have the Onyx, which I could not spawn. I will put a picture of him on screen right now. These guys are really just a nuisance in the caves. They are tameable though, and they are not rideable. They're good for PvP if you want to like destroy someone's armor. That's what they're good for. Another animal I cannot spawn is the Otter. It is tameable. It is not rideable. It was recently released with the new Ragnarok DLC. These guys are good for collecting black pearls, silica pearls, and providing insulation. And the final animal that I cannot spawn for the O's is the Overseer. He is not tameable, he is not rideable. He is actually just a new boss introduced with the Ragnarok DLC. Next we have the Ovis, or the sheep, and now these guys are fairly useless unless you're collecting mutton off them, in which case they are great because mutton is very good for taming, much more efficient than raw meat. Next we have the Patchy, which is tameable and rideable. I think these guys are really cool personally. They're kind of weak though. They're good for inflicting torpor, but that's about it. Next we have the Patchy Rhinoceros. This is a high level Patchy. Anyways, these guys are tameable, they are rideable. Other than that, they do that, which they can carry 2 people. They're kind of like a step down from a Triceratops, I would say. I don't really know, but they excrete this like powdery gas, which will drain the stamina from nearby enemies. And I think it also has some sort of thing where it will like put out gases that will aggro. Yeah, I think things aggro onto certain animals if you do that. Next we have the Paracitherium, or the Paracer. These guys are very big, they have large stats, they are tameable and rideable, and these guys are really like a step down from the Bronto, but they have platform saddles, so they're really good to have. Next we have the Parasaur. Now everyone knows about the Parasaur as they're usually the first tame, honestly. This was my first tame, first thing I ever rode. They're cool, they don't really do anything, they collect like a little bit of berries, they have high stamina but they're kind of slow, but other than that they're fun to have. Next we have the Pegomastax, which obviously no one likes because they steal your stuff. They are tameable and rideable. Oh, I mean not rideable, my bad. Anyways, they steal your stuff and it's like really annoying because usually they'll take the most valuable thing in your inventory. Next we have the Pelagornis, which I did not spawn. I think I lost him actually, but I'll put him on the screen right now. He is tameable and rideable. He is an aquatic flying mount. By this I mean he can fly, obviously he's a pelican, but he also swims on the surface very fast. and he's good for farming organic polymer. Next we have the Fiumia, which I think is the first animal you get the saddle for. These guys are tameable and rideable. I usually just kill them for the hide and meat early on, but eventually they're great for pooping, like a lot. Like if you shove them with stem berries, they'll just poop. And next we have the Phoenix, which is new to Scorched Earth as of I think a week ago. They are tameable and rideable. They can smelt things in their inventory. They can cook meat. They are a great way of traveling. If you don't mind the low weight, their weight on average will be less than 100. So I think that would be it's a good way to nerf it. Otherwise, it'd probably be OP. And the stats are pretty low on it, like the health, the stam, everything is just kind of low on it. Next we have the Piranha, which are not tameable or rideable. No one really likes them, I don't think. I mean, they give you meat when you kill them, but mainly you avoid them. They're just an aquatic predator. Next we have the Plesiosaur, and I don't really know why it's flying up like this, but it is a large aquatic mount. I'm going to see if I can't ride him right now. Oh, we got a flying one. I have no idea how this is even happening. Anyway, he's kind of like the Loch Ness Monster, which is cool. He is tameable and rideable. He is tameable and rideable, but other than that, I don't think he has any special abilities that would make him worth taming. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. Next, we have the Procoptodon or the kangaroo. These guys are cool. You can put someone in their little pouch in the bottom. They have huge jump. And other than that, they're fairly useless, but they are cool. Next we have the Pteranodon, which pretty much everyone knows. I don't have one spawned in right now. I'll blow one up on screen right now. These guys are one of your first flying mounts. They are tameable and rideable. They are scout, and they're just good to have. Everyone's got some. Next we have the Pulmonoscorpius, or the Scorpion. They are tameable and rideable. They are good for inflicting torpor, and they are base guard. They're useful for guarding your base. Next we've got the Prolovia, which is tameable, but it is not rideable. You can bury them, so I guess it would be a very good base guard, because if you put them in the right spot, they can definitely take someone by surprise. Next we have the Kets. These guys are crazy stats. It's kind of like the Bronto of the sky, really. Their stamina's high, they're very slow, but they do have a platform saddle, so most people do tame one. And they can carry pretty much any dinosaur you want, if you get it right. Next we have the Raptor, which is always good to have in the beginning. They're tameable and rideable. They're really just a weak land tame, but when you're first starting out, I think they're definitely a must-have. Next we have the infamous T-Rex. These guys are tameable and rideable, and really they're just good for PvP, and they have pretty good stats. And look at that roar. Next we have the Rock Elemental, which is tameable, it is rideable, and they can hide and protect. They sink in the ocean, but that can help explore if you're walking the bottom. They're tanky, and they collect pretty much every resource extremely efficiently. And they can throw those boulders. And they have crazy stats. Here we go, we're disguising him as a rock. There we go. It actually looks pretty good. It is just a rock, yep. And, okay, moving on. We have the Rebel Golem, which is pretty much the smaller version. You can disguise them as well. Next we have the Sabertooth. Now these guys are tameable and rideable, and this one is very cool. Anyways, it is a decent land mount. It collects chitin, keratin, and hide very efficiently. Next we have the Sabertooth Salmon, which is not tameable or rideable. You kill them for meat. They're naturally hostile, but they do not attack you once you reach a certain level. Next we have the Sarco, which is tameable and rideable. It is an amphibious mount, meaning it'll go land and water pretty effectively. These guys are cool to have, but they're not completely necessary, I don't think. They're very slow on land. Oh, this one's fast. Next we have the Spino, which is like I would say an endgame tame. So here's the Spino. He is tameable and rideable. He's mainly just a high tier mount. He's very cool, and I think he swims fast as well. Test that out. Yeah, he swims pretty fast. He's cool. You see him around, you usually run away because you don't want to get eaten by him. Next we have the Stego, which is tameable and rideable. These guys have pretty high stats. They gather berries, thatch, and wood efficiently. I mean, I think they're a staple of every berry collecting process. Next we have the Tapahera, which is a flying mount. They're extremely skittish, so if you happen to tame one, you're very lucky. Or if you bowl them just right, they are tameable and rideable, and they are a versatile flyer, as they can fly horizontally. And they're very cool looking, honestly. Next we have the Terror Bird, which is very obnoxious to deal with at low levels. They are tameable and rideable. They're just a low tier land mount, and they can jump. I guess it's kind of cool. They're fairly useless though. Next we have the Therizino. Now the Therizino is a very good mount. It is tameable and rideable. It gathers pretty much every resource efficiently, including fiber. Next we have the Thorny Dragon. Now this guy is tameable and rideable, and he's really just a mobile smithy. He efficiently gathers wood. I think they're a Scorched Earth exclusive, but I might be wrong. Next we have the Thylacleo, which I don't see very often, but they are tameable and rideable. They are a well-rounded jumping mount, and as you can see, they jump very high. Next we have the Snake, or the Titanoboa. It is tameable. It is not rideable. These guys give you prime when you kill them, and that's just about it. I'm sure they have some other purpose when they're tamed, and if you do know that purpose, go ahead and comment. Next we have the Titanomyrma drums. One of them's flying, one of them's not. These guys are really just a wild threat. They drop chitin when you kill them. Other than that, they're fairly useless. They do not have any taming methods, and they cannot be ridden. The Titanosaur, I mean, look at it. It's huge. These guys are tameable and they are rideable. They are just a huge walking base. I do believe that after they run out of hunger, they will die. So if you tame one, they're only good until their hunger runs out. They won't eat whatever you force feed them. It won't be any good. But I mean, look at it. It's huge. Next we have the Trike, which is a staple. Are you serious? I definitely had infinite stats on. I'll be right back. Again. Okay, as I was saying, the Trike, a staple of every taming process. Now these guys are rideable, and they gather berries, thatch, and cactus sap efficiently. They have low stamina, they have decent weight, and they have a pretty decent health. Next we have the Trilobite, which I did spawn. He's over here, 1 second. These guys are not tameable or rideable, and they're good for killing, really. They're a source of oil, pearls, and chitin. I would say they're like great to kill anytime you see them, especially early on, because they'll drop all those resources that are great to have. Next we have the Troodons, the infamous Troodons, which no one likes. Well, I don't like them. If you run into them in the wild and you get hit a couple times, you'll get knocked out, and then they'll gangbang you, and then you're dead. You can tame them. They are not rideable, and they're acting as a scout or guard. Their eyes light up in the night, and it's really obnoxious when you run into them. Next we have the Tuso. Now this is tameable and rideable. It passively creates oil. It is a huge aquatic mount, and it inflicts torpor. I can't swim around because he's in like this tiny little river, but his head is huge, and his tentacles are also, look at them. Next we have the Vulture. These guys are able to be picked up, they are able to be tamed, and they're not rideable. They really just offer some protection. Other than that, they're fairly useless. Next we have the Woolly Rhino. He's over here. Here he is. The Woolly Rhino is tameable and rideable. It collects berries, thatch, wood, and it has a strong charge attack, and by that I mean this. Now if I were to run into an enemy dinosaur, it would inflict... What just happened? Whatever. Anyways, if I were to run into an enemy dinosaur, it would inflict tons and tons of damage. Next we have the Wyvern. Now the Wyvern is tameable and rideable. It collects sap, thatch, wood, and it is a high tier flying mount. Probably one of the fastest flying mounts in the game right now. I think they're definitely great to have. And last but not least, we have the Yudi. Now the Yudi is tameable and rideable. it induces fear in enemy creatures, which will basically send them out of control. They also give dinosaurs nearby a boost in stats. It can also draw nearby Carnotosauruses to act as minions, and I think it's definitely worth having. And I also spawned in this Zomdodo because I was just curious as to what it was. I mean, I think it's just like a Halloween exclusive mob, but other than that, it's useless. Anyways, that will conclude part 2 of the ARK Master Guide. If you have any questions or thoughts, you can please comment them down below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I will also link my Twitter in the description. And this video did take a long time to record, so I would appreciate it if you would drop a like. I hope this was informative. Thank you for watching.